service. Welcome back to the Full Service Podcast. I am Tank Smith, your host. Today is episode 108. Thanks for being here. As always, you can find us on Twitter, on Instagram at Full Service Pod. I am at Tank Funkadelic. If you enjoy the show, if you like what you're hearing, subscribe to the podcast. Hit that plus button, that follow button. Maybe it's a heart, maybe it says subscribe, and you'll be alerted as soon as those new episodes drop. Ratings and reviews help so much for visibility for the show, so if you can, hit us with 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, write us a review. I will love you forever. We have, I feel like we haven't had a review since probably like June or July for the podcast, people. And as you know, my love language, words of affirmation, I need it. So if you could write us a review on Apple Podcasts. If you want to support the show, hey, the best way to do that is by joining us on Patreon. Each month we have at least one Patreon exclusive episode you cannot hear anywhere else. We've had a few people join Patreon in the last month. Shout out to them. Shout out to our newest Patreon Alcohol member, Tom DeSoge. I feel like I'm butchering that name. But hey, Tom DeSoge, shout out to you. Thanks for joining Patreon. That is patreon.com/fullservicepod. Today, episode 108. Stoked for this episode. My guest is Charleston, South Carolina-based companion Sarah Dow is on the podcast. We actually, I feel like we initially connected probably in like June of this year, and we planned for a couple months out, and then it didn't happen, and then we planned again, and it didn't happen. Now it's December, 6 months later, 7 months later, on the podcast. So excited to have her on. We talk life in Charleston. The holidays are coming up. We look at the holidays. We talk her love of travel and why I need to go to Tulum, Mexico. I need to go to a topless beach. Never been, but it's gonna happen. We look at her start in the industry in Phoenix doing massage. We talk becoming a dom, working in a dungeon, what that experience was like. We look at her transition to companionship, why connection matters during a session. We look and we discuss and we take an in-depth dive into cuddling, people. Cuddling, it's amazing, and we really explore it, and I feel like that was a good conversation we had about cuddling. We look at how the industry's changed since her start over 10 years ago. I feel like, we look at how screening has changed, how advertising has changed. We talk misconceptions within sex work and discuss where she sees herself in the future. Shout out, Sarah. I appreciate you coming on the podcast. That was so much fun. People, you're going to enjoy this one. Make sure you're following Sarah. She is on Twitter at SexySarahCHS. She is on OnlyFans, people. OnlyFans.com/FitBlondeNextDoor. And you can find her website at SweetSarahDow.com. I have links to all of those in the description of the episode. Hit the description, click the links, do the things, people. Give her a follow. I'm going to stop talking. I hope you enjoy my conversation today with Sarah Dow. I'll see you on the other side. Later. Welcome back, listeners. It's Tank Smith. I'm so excited for today's episode. My guest is a Charleston, South Carolina-based companion, Sarah Dow. Sarah, thanks for being on the podcast.
Thanks, Tank, for inviting me.
Heck yeah, I'm glad we could do this. I feel like we've been trying to do this for like almost 6 months probably, and now it's happening. Now it's finally happening. This is great.
Today is the day.
Today is the day. Fuck yeah. Listeners, I'm currently in Atlanta. Sarah, where are you joining us from?
I am based out of Charleston, South Carolina.
Hell yeah. How's Charleston this time of year? How's Charleston?
Well, actually, it's beautiful all year round, of course. This is why I live here. It is currently about 50-some degrees. It is winter here, which is different than winter in other states. We're very lucky we don't have snow, and we still have that little bit of crisp evenings and mornings sometimes in the winter to wear hats and cute coats and boots. But we also have that option during the day to walk around on the beach if it's 60 degrees in the winter. So
nice.
We're lucky.
I've been to Charleston. Like 6th grade I went, and we went to the USS Yorktown and then like Fort Sumter all in one day. And I feel like that's my view of that's my view of Charleston is just ooh USS Yorktown. I've been there once. That was cool.
I've actually never been there. I've lived in Charleston 7 years now, but I drive the boat past those places, but I've never actually stopped and gotten off to go to the U.S. Yorktown. But I heard it's really nice. They have a lot of parties on there that they do. They used to do like New Year's Eve party there. I'm not even sure if they're doing that this year or not with COVID, but I hear it's a pretty fun time.
Okay, hell yeah. I feel like the only thing I remember is just like steep steps. That's it. That's all I got. But it was cool. It was cool. Hell yeah. So if I was going like, you got any recommendations for the people? They're coming to Charleston. They never been before. What's good to do in Charleston?
Well, definitely we have three in the Charleston vicinity itself. We have three really nice beaches, and there's always things to do there. Even if it's not summertime, just take a walk on the beach. We have great restaurants down near Folly Beach to visit as well. Downtown is, I feel, is definitely a place to visit if you're coming to Charleston just for a short time. We have amazing restaurants there from all spectrums of Southern food to healthy food, to even just to get appetizers and share with friends and have cocktails. We have a lot of great places to have fun cocktails. Like the mixology is really big here in Charleston. And there are cobblestone streets, so I recommend not wearing high heels if you're a girl. I would recommend wearing wedges or something comfortable. I had a friend who came here and wore high heels and ended up injuring themselves with
Oh
wearing the
wow.
high heels on the cobblestones here. Yes, not a good thing.
I know like I always hear like the Charleston bar scene's pretty good, but I know like a lot of those like older like East Coast cities, like you got like Wilmington, Charleston, Savannah, they're like I don't are they haunted? Like is Charleston like another haunted city too?
There are ghost tours, which I would recommend going to one at least once while you're here. I went to a ghost tour prior to even moving here, and it was pretty interesting to learn some of the history of Charleston that you wouldn't really know just walking around downtown Charleston. But they say it is haunted. Whether that's true or
Nice.
not, I don't know. But there's a lot of really cool graveyards downtown to go visit with old headstones and like just different names that you hear that like wow that's a really old name, and they'll tell you the history of how things happened with the Civil War. And we have beautiful plantations to visit. That's definitely a go to if you're coming to Charleston is to visit a plantation. We have so many to that they're open to the public.
Okay, hell yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. I feel like I feel like I can't go to a plantation, but I feel like it would be a good move for somebody, but I can't go.
You could go. No, I went just recently. I had a friend visiting. Was like, let's go to plantation. I said, all right. So we went to one of the plantations, and I learned some things. Like I was like, wow, that's a really interesting story about like cotton picking and things like that you would have never thought of, and how the slaves were pretty much tortured in a way by the masters of the house, and how the living arrangements were. So I learned some history that day. Yeah. I didn't have to read. I had a tour.
See, I feel like the worst thing would be like I go to a plantation and have fun, and then I feel bad about having fun on this plantation.
No.
It's a mixed bag.
Yeah.
I heard a rumor that you are a Steelers fan. Is this true? This is true.
This is very true. We're not doing very well this year, but that's okay. I've been a fan since I think high school. So
Okay.
I grew up not too far from the Pittsburgh area, about an hour, couple hours away. So I just ended up being a Steelers fan, even though
Nice.
they do well and they don't do well. You've got to stay the fan forever, right? You can't just
Oh
pick and
yeah.
choose whatever team's winning for the year. I don't do that.
Well, I mean, and they were on top for a while, so I mean, you guys can take a couple
They
L's.
I think we were. I'm so bad that I've been busy traveling this week. And last week, prior to the Ravens game, I know we're 5-5-1 because we had a tie. But honestly, I don't even know if the Ravens beat us or not last week. I'm sorry. I don't even. That's bad of me as a fan to not know.
Oh, you're good. I looked it up and they won. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, good. So then we're
Yeah,
six,
yeah,
6-5-1. Woo! Thank you for that
yeah,
clarification.
yeah. I know this year's it's been pretty wild, but we're coming to a close. You got any plans for the end of the year?
I not too much. I think I'm. I'm having a fun Christmas party at my house coming up soon. But other than that, I'm not doing any more traveling. I'm just kind of gonna stay around the house for a while and enjoy family. How about
Oh
you?
yeah. That's always nice. Yeah, I'm gonna be pretty much just chilling. Like I know, I feel like I'm gonna go to my parents' house for Christmas, and then I think for New Year's, me and my roommate we're gonna go to a casino in the mountains. So that's gonna be
Ooh,
fun. Yeah,
yeah. I
play
don't
some
see
sports
much going
bets.
on here. There's like I've been to a few places downtown Charleston that have wonderful New Year's Eve parties, but this year I didn't really see much going on, so I'm just gonna go with some friends and just go to dinner. I made some reservations in a really nice fancy restaurant and get all dolled up and have some nice dinner and just go to the different bars. That's my plan for New
I mean,
Year's.
you really can't
Stay
beat
close to
that.
home.
That
Mm-mm.
sounds nice. That's a good way to close the year out. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I was in Phoenix this past for this year New Year's Eve, and I ended up getting COVID. So that turned out to be a beginning of the year not so fun, right?
Yeah, yeah. Goal of 2022. Just don't have COVID at the beginning. We're coming in strong.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, is this a sign from the universe that I'm gonna have a bad year because I get COVID on the 3rd of January? Not a positive thing.
I think that's just a sign to just not go to Arizona sometimes.
No, I love Arizona. I'll be back in February for the Open, the Phoenix Open. Well, the Waste
Oh, nice.
Management they call it now. Yeah.
Oh, okay, hell yeah. Have you ever been to the Masters? Do you get a golf much?
No, I don't. I just have friends there in Phoenix that got box seats, so they invited me, and I'm like, sure, I'll be there. So, but I've never been to the Masters. I think you have to like die to get tickets or something. I've heard.
Yeah. It's either that or
hmm
like sell like an organ, and then you can go.
hmm Yeah, you sell your organ, and then I'll go with the tickets.
Yeah. You sell your organ and then it's like, sorry, you got a scalp ticket. It's not real.
Yeah.
You're gonna live less time and you can't go to the Masters. That sucks. I know you're like a traveler. What you got any places to visit? What's something good to if you're going somewhere, where are you going?
Oh wow! I just went to Tulum, Mexico. Well, wow, it was not a couple weeks ago. Literally, it was like 3 weeks ago. I think I was there, and I that's one of my go-to places. I absolutely love Tulum, Mexico. Have you ever been?
I have not. I didn't even. It's so funny. Like I hadn't even heard of Tulum before like last year, and then I did this podcast and made some friends, and everyone's like, "Oh, we're going to Tulum to do a photo shoot," and now like as soon as I heard that, I'm like, everybody's going to Tulum. It's a hot
Mhm.
spot I hear.
It is. I've been going 6 times, 7 times over the past 10 years. So I went there before it was even popular, like back in the day. It was it's absolutely beautiful. The water is warm and blue, and it's like a really hip. Now it's a really hip spot, like you were saying. Like they have. I was there a few weeks ago, and there's a really cool different boutique hotels that are right in Tulum, and Tulum is topless, of course. So who doesn't love a topless beach, right?
Well, I mean, they should have. That's where you lead with. Tulum
Yeah.
topless. We're
Yeah,
going.
I'm sorry. I'll remember that now. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna get a bumper sticker that says Tulum topless Tulum. Yeah. Okay.
See, I would have remembered it if I would have known that.
Mhm. Well, now you have to go. Yeah.
Now I gotta go, but that means I gotta take my shirt off, and I'll be like, "Fuck." But all these other people got their shirts off, so I'll be like, "Yo, it's cool. Live and let
I don't think
live."
anybody knows. As long as the girls have their tops off, they're like, hey, because I went with a bunch of friends, and some of the guys were like, this beach is topless, and I said, yeah, it is. They were shocked because all girls had tiny little thongs on because it's very Tulum is very European. Like there's not many. You think people are from America and they're not. They look American, but they speak a different language. As soon as they start talking, they speak a different language, and they're beautiful. Even the men are beautiful. They have thong bikinis on and no tops and just running around. They have like really cool DJs. So it's like a fun, like an EDM, EDC type of place where when I was there at this boutique hotel, they have these like beds up on the top of these like nests with like swings everywhere and you can sit right on the beach and the DJ's playing and the guy's playing the saxophone on the beach and people are running around. It's a big party. It's a lot of fun. I definitely
Now
recommend going.
that sounds like an amazing time.
Yeah,
It's
it
on the
is.
agenda. It's on the agenda. Tulum, I gotta go. What am I doing? Tulum.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
And you're Atlanta, right? You can get a direct flight to you fly into Cancun. But the customs FYI is not fun. And now that COVID is over, when I flew, it took me was it almost 2 hours in customs, and it's like herded like cows. There's no organization whatsoever. So if you don't have a mask on, you've got COVID already because it's like people are like neck and neck to get through the customs. So
Oh
just be
God.
patient and have snacks and water. So tips to
Okay,
everybody out there. Yeah.
that's not bad. I went to an Ole Miss football game the other week, and
Ooh, fun.
I thought I was gonna have COVID, but came back good,
Yeah.
cleaned it off.
Congratulations. Yeah.
I know, right? What's something you're passionate about?
I guess I'm passionate about working out. I think that's a big thing for me. I mean, it's not just to stay fit. I think mentally, and I'm also do personal training as well. So I'm very passionate about helping people reach goals. So I think that being passionate about working out and having people come to me and give me compliments. So like, oh hey Sarah, you know what? I just lost 10 pounds. Thank you, thank you. I just got in size small yoga pants and I was a size medium. I appreciate all the hard work that you're helping me to lose weight. And I think that's what my big passion is helping people. And I think that my family, I'm very passionate about my family. I'm very close with my family, and that's something that drives me is being a good sibling to my sisters, and I have a daughter, so I feel like I'm a great mother as well. So I
Oh
spoil
yeah.
her. Of course, she went to Tulum with me, you know. So,
Oh, nice, cool, cool, hell
yeah,
yeah. We got to bring the fam to Tulum,
yeah,
but you got to
of
be
course.
like, you got to go to the other beach. This is my spot. Okay.
Yeah,
Hell yeah, Sarah. I appreciate you coming on the podcast. Thank you so much.
yeah. Thanks for
Fuck yeah. So I feel like I always try to start at the beginning of everyone's like sex work journey, their career. Do you feel like you can remember your first exposure to sex work at all?
Yes, I do. It was like it was yesterday, even though it was several years ago. It was when I lived in Phoenix at the time, and like most girls in the hobby, we looking for extra money, or we lost our jobs, whatever the case may be. But I needed extra money for things, and you know, waitressing or being a bartender, it's long hours, and you're away from home for a long time, and the money. I mean, you can make decent money, but it's tough, right? So I found an ad on Craigslist, which of course they wouldn't have that anymore. But back in
Yeah.
the day, there was an ad on Craigslist that said, "Hey, looking to make an extra $500 or $600." I was like, okay, well, what's this about? And it was like, you don't have to have sex. It's just, it went into more detail in regards to that. And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to reply to that ad. So I contacted the gentleman who had posted the ad, and he told me a little bit about how it went down. And he's like, hey, you know what? Well, what I do is I have a few girls that work for me, and I post ads on Backpage was around then. So he's like, I post ads, and then I help with the appointments, and I set up things like set up massage appointments with guys that come in from out of town. And he said, here's the set rate. I take a cut of it, and you take the rest of it, and I book everything for you. And that's kind of how I got started. Was I didn't work for him for very long because he was like, you seem like a very savvy businesswoman. Why don't I set you up on doing it on your own? Because I really didn't want to work for anybody because I'm very independent. So we
Yeah.
did, and that's kind of how Sarah Dow came about. Is because I went on my own and I posted on Backpage whenever I was ready to work, and it went from there. So I started off doing sensual body massages, and I guess it grew from there. I really liked it because to me, I felt it was I got to know people that I would never meet otherwise. And
Yeah.
I've made some great friends over the years that I've known for 15, 20 years, which is that's how long I've been in the business. And it's nice to know that I still have friends from that long ago. A lot
Hell
of people
yeah.
can't say that. They burn bridges, and I feel that some of these people that I've met have helped me through whatever it might be in my life, whether I had a hard time or just counseling them or helping them as well. And like I said, I'm a helper, so I like to help people. So I feel that getting into this business has really molded me as a person. If that makes sense.
Oh yeah. How was it like? So, I feel like the industry starting out then versus now has to be like not night and day, but like everything's evolved so much. Looking back at the beginning and then looking at like where you are now, does it feel good to know that you're still like not like still like I guess if I was doing something well like a while ago and I'm still doing well now, I feel like it has to feel good that I know that that I'm good at this thing, because you've been doing it for a while, I feel like it has to feel good to do something with longevity and be good at it, I guess.
I mean, this is the longest job I've ever had in my life, and I'm still happy doing it. Right? I'm like, who does a job for that long and they could still say, hey, you know what? I'm happy to go to work every day.
Yeah. I feel like that's not many people have that.
No, they don't, and I can't speak for everybody else, but I'm speaking for myself. I've enjoyed it from starting off from just being nervous and the first time as a body massage going, oh, do I take off my top or what do I do? And the guy smelled of cigarette smoke. And so, because it was a NASCAR race that came into Phoenix and the guy had set me up to meet with this gentleman. And I was so nervous. I'm like, oh, this guy smells like cigarette smoke. What do I do? I mean, I didn't know, we didn't screen back then or anything. So it was like so different. And I was nervous. But then as time went on, it got a little bit easier. And then I got into other parts of the industry as well and just kind of grew from there. And now it's so different, definitely over the past 15, 20 years, how things have changed.
Yeah. How is it like, you know, when you start out, are you familiar at all of this like sex work world? Are you kind of like going in like I know you see the ad on Craigslist? Are you aware of that world at all before this?
Not really, honestly. I mean, when I was going to college, I worked at a strip club, which is not technically the same thing, but I wasn't a dancer. I was actually a bartender.
Okay.
So I bartend. I was a casa waitress for a long time, going through college, paying my way through college, and then I ended up being a bartender, and I did that for a couple years, and I made great money doing it, but I had stage fright, and I'm kind of shy when it comes to that kind of thing, so I never went there as to be a dancer. And then when I saw this ad several years later, I was like, oh, you know what? I know a little bit about that industry, but I never had gotten into it myself until then. So I
Okay.
wasn't really. I was. I guess I would say I'm open with my sexuality, so it didn't seem to bother me to ask questions and to this gentleman who helped me with it and get started.
Okay. Okay. Do you feel like at the beginning is there anybody like are you kind of learning like on your own? Like are you kind of like I guess do you do you have help or is anybody giving you advice in this world? Or it's kind of like trial and error. You're just like, how does the beginning look? I guess, like in terms of your that learning, maybe.
Honestly, I think it was a combo. And I think over the years you learn things because I was never really full time in this industry. I was more because I have a real I guess a real job. I guess I would say civvy job.
Okay.
So I didn't have to be in this industry full time. And so the gentleman who helped me, he told me exactly what to do, like how to post on Backpage and put your photos and what to say and things like that. And then as years passed on, I went into I went into BDSM and I did that for a while and I worked in a dungeon and so things change and so you learn things in different parts of the industry of um, how to advertise or when you meet people they already know things and they give you those tips. So along the way I've met so many different people that have helped me. Even literally 5 years, not even 4 or 5 years ago, I met a girl in Charleston, and she was help me. It's like, oh, there's Twitter. I'm like, what is Twitter? I
Oh
don't even know
yeah.
what that. I don't even know what that is. Like Tryst, what's that? Because I'm like, where do I advertise? I'm on P411 since like 2000, whatever. I didn't even know what any of these other places were to advertise, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, thank you. So it's and then in turn paying that forward and meeting somebody who was on Seeking Arrangements not too long ago, and I'm just like, why don't you post on Tryst? Like, what are you doing on Seeking Arrangements? You're hot. I mean, you should. And helping her to be like, oh, this is what you have to do, and you post here, and helping other people in the industry that might be new. So learning from the very beginning, and then mentoring somebody, I guess.
I feel like it has to feel good to like have that community kind of around you to where, like if people can be like, "Oh, hey, I see what you're doing. You could do this thing differently. You can do that to somebody else." And it's just like you have this, I guess, resource to like for like helping each other out, I feel like that has to be a good thing.
Yes, and I think that in this industry, it's big, but it's small, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think that having other women or even men, helping each other out, I think is a good thing. And we want to know, like, hey, you know what? There's a gentleman that he's he's negative or he's a stalker or whatever, and we all need to know those things. And I think working together is important for our safety, number one. And I think safety is the big key in being in this industry.
Definitely. I know, like, I feel like I ask everyone this question. Do you feel like at the beginning there's like a learning curve or like a waiver period where you're like not good at it? Is that a thing?
No, I wouldn't say that. I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything, but I mean, no, I don't think so. Um, no, I mean, maybe I might have somebody out there that might say I wasn't. I don't know, but I really can't think of any at this time. No.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I mean, I was nervous, of course, and honestly, Hank, like every time I meet somebody new, I'm nervous, right? Like I get all sweaty and like, oh my god, what's this person gonna look like? Is it who they
Yeah.
say? And and they in turn are like, oh, I was so nervous to meet you, Sarah, and I didn't know what to think, and you know, I think that goes both ways. It's not just on their end; it's on our end too.
Yeah.
Am I
Definitely.
going to have a good connection with this person? Um, I think that's important, and connection for me is key. Especially, I think that's probably why I have so many clients that I've had over the years. Like I started off in Phoenix, and I mean, what, 15 years ago or so, and I'm going back, like I mentioned, in February, and I told some clients that I've known for 15 years, like, you're coming back. Okay, I want to see you. When are you coming? I'm going to see you. I'm going to book time with you. And I'm like, wow, it's been that long and they still want to see me. That's a compliment to me.
That's fucking amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Cause I feel like you can just leave someone with that good feeling, and then that's just there, and then you come back years later, and it's like still like, oh shit, I remember this amazing time I had with this person. Let's do that again.
Exactly. And like you mentioned, I was a Steelers fan, so I have clients out in Phoenix, and they're always messaging me like, Sarah, are you wearing your Lucky Steelers panties? Do you have your jersey on that I bought you? And I'm like, yeah, actually I do. They want to know. Let me see a picture of you in it. Let me see. I want to know. Are you really?
Yeah,
And that's nice. It's nice to in a way be wanted by somebody.
yeah, definitely. I feel like no matter what you're doing, I feel like you're always kind of evolving as a person. The person that I am, like, a couple years ago, not necessarily the same person you are now.
Yeah.
How is it finding, I guess, Sarah, or finding who you wanted to be within sex work? How long did it take to kind of find who you wanted to be?
I think it did take me a few years to really know like what exactly I liked in the industry, right? Like it I I've done so many different things, and work with different girls, whether it was working in BDSM with another mistress, to doing threesomes, or just kind of working on my own, or traveling, things like that. I mean, you kind of realize over the years exactly what fits you best. And I don't really have something that fits me the best. I guess I kind of love to do everything, and I'm a type of person where I get bored really fast. So
Okay.
Um, I'm ADHD, so I don't like to stay still very long. So I think with in this industry, it's good for me because I have the option. I can travel if I want. I can do sensual body massages. I can do BDSM. I can offer full service, the girlfriend experience. I can do all those things whenever I want, and I think that helps me grow every single day into Sarah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Because I feel like just not being able to, like, not necessarily just pinning yourself down on, like, I offer this thing and the willingness to change and I guess be open to new things just would keep whatever you're doing just, like, fresh, you know?
Yes, that's true. hmm
Yeah.
It's different every day. Like I don't know. Like I'm currently visiting in Columbus, Ohio right now, and I met some great people. Like I wanted to go to a workout class yesterday morning, and I had to take an Uber, and I met a massage client the night before, and he messaged me. He goes, "Hey, I'm in your area." And I go, "Oh, I had to take an Uber." And he goes, "Well, I'll pick you up." And I said, "Oh, thanks. I'm at the Whole Foods." So he picked me up at Whole Foods and drove me back to my hotel. And he didn't need to do that. I mean, it was really nice of him. I'm like, how nice. So making friends, every single day that I might not see this person ever again, but we established a friendship and a connection, and I think that's important to me. And I made somebody feel good about himself, right? He had like two employees just recently die, and he was having a bad day, and I'm always happy to put a smile on somebody's face.
I feel like that just like the making somebody feel good is an underrated ability. Cause like it's hard to do that, you know? And the fact that you're able to do that, I'm like, fucking great. It's a great thing, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I'm just like I love it. It's wonderful. So you mentioned working in a dungeon. Is how is working in the dungeon?
Yeah, it was a Phoenix, and actually I've totally forgotten how exactly I fell into that part of it. I honestly don't remember, but there was a woman. She was an old porn star, and she had opened a dungeon in the south end of Phoenix in this warehouse district. And you pull in, and of course it was very shady. And you pull in, and he has cameras everywhere. And then a gentleman would come visit, and there would be like three or four girls working, and me being one of them. And so he would pick the girl for the evening. And there was a big dungeon that had everything you would ever imagine in this dungeon. And he would say exactly what he's looking for, because in that arena of sex work, there's so many different things, whether it's role playing or cross dressing, or more of the extensive of tying up, or spanking or pegging. There's all different
There's like
parts
thousands, I
of.
feel like.
Oh my God, there's so many. I could that's a whole other podcast in itself. But for me, I was still very new to the industry, and I was like, wow, what am I getting myself into? Like, I don't know how to tie this knot. And they were actually putting weights on this guy's balls. I'm like, and kicking him. Like, what are they doing? Like, they're piercing. What are they doing here?
Yeah.
And a thing called sounds, and they're like sticking these metal things down
Oh
his
yeah.
penis. And I was like, wow, I like that. That was actually pretty cool. But there were some
Nice.
things like the cross and chaining them up, and the gagging, and all those other things that it was really interesting. So that was I did that briefly at that dungeon, because to me it was, I mean, it wasn't a very good side of town, and I just honestly didn't feel safe.
Okay.
So I didn't work there very long, but however, I did meet a girl that we were doing out of her house. So she was like the bad mistress, and I was the nice one. So I'm the blonde, and she was the dark haired girl, and we would have the slaves or the subs. We would tell them what we wanted. They're like, "Oh, we want lunch today. Give us PF Chang's. We want a bottle of wine, and we want a pack of cigarettes." Like back in the day, like we'd burn them with cigarettes or something. So they would
Hell
always bring
yeah.
something to us, and and it was fun because she was the mean one, I was the nice one. And there's no intercourse going on. We just beat them up, or
Yeah.
whatever they're looking for. Whether we bring another sub in, and make them be with each other, or it kind of would progress from there. And so that was fun because it was her house, and so we could do whatever we wanted. We have like blackout curtains, and
That's
and
great.
yeah, we would advertise on Backpage, and it would be X amount of dollars to see the both of us, or if the client only wanted to see me or her, then I would see that person. it's interesting because a lot of the those type of gentlemen, they seem to be very powerful men in their daily lives, but they want to be uh, humiliated in the bedroom, I guess.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that has to be fun, kind of like just coming up with things, or like just like you're like, hey, give me PF Chang's, give me some wine, be my furniture, just get my sick.
Oh
Like I
yeah,
feel like
make them
that would be
clean.
fun.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, yeah. It is. Actually, it's actually. I think that's like the out of all the three things I've done in the industry. I think is the puts more of a smile on my face than anything. Not that the other ones don't, but I think if I had to choose, not that I have to humiliate men all the time, but it can be fun to do that and kind of be bossy. And I'm not a bossy person. I mean, I'm slightly bossy, but I'm more of a delegator, I guess.
okay,
But in this area, with the BDSM, you can really, I mean, I had a guy recently that I saw, and he gave me a note when he came in and had panties on his head when he showed up at the appointment, and had it written down in cursive exactly what he wanted to be done. And he wanted all these things and wanted me to make sure I drank. I saw him early in the morning, wanted to make sure that I drank lots of coffee prior to, and I just did some toilet training, which is peeing right in his mouth with my hot coffee pee, and he drank it all. I mean, yes, it's like,
see,
okay, if that's what you
that's
like.
amazing.
I mean, I wouldn't do it myself, but I mean, it was fun to do it. To like, wow, because some girls could get shy about it and be like, oh, so. But that's like something that it's a request, and that everybody has their own fetish, I suppose. Whether it's foot worship or that kind of thing.
Do
All
you have a
walks of life.
favorite? Do you have a favorite one to provide to people? Do you have a favorite fetish to provide?
No, I don't really have a favorite
Okay,
actually. Um, I mean, I do. The golden shower, I do like that. I don't have as high as request for that though.
okay.
Um, I think I do like the cross dressing. I do like to dress my slaves up and uh, make them look pretty. And I sometimes even doing it remotely as well via text message. I have a sub that lives not in Charleston, but he's not too far away, and he'll go put on his pretty pink panties and he'll go to Hooters and be like, I'm sitting at Hooters right now with all the girls and I have my pink silky panties on underneath and I feel so sexy. And I'm like, well, good, like how does that make
That's
you
awesome.
feel? Yeah,
Hell
so
yeah, the
it's kind
long
of fun too,
distance.
right? Yeah, yeah, it is.
What so you start out in massage. What does your I guess entrance kind of into companionship look like? Is that like after the dom stuff or is that kind of concurrently or like I guess what's the timeline maybe, I guess.
That's a good question. So yeah, obviously, it started off with the massage, and then it went to the BDSM, and then it went to companionship. So I um, didn't offer the girlfriend experience until pretty much I moved to Charleston. I mean, they might have had just a few here and there of guys who are like, hey, you know what? Please, 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 and I'm like, okay, fine. If I had established a relationship with them, but then I moved to Charleston, and um, after I was there for a few years, I had a high request to open up the menu and be like, hey, Sarah really would like this if you would offer that. So that's kind of how I ended up doing that. So it's only been actually a few years that
Okay.
I've had that companionship.
Do you feel like your I guess maybe massage work or BDSM work is like influence companionship at all or like do you feel like that's maybe made you better or because I feel like no matter what you the more experience you have doing things I feel like it's all like positive in whatever you're doing. Do you feel like doing that stuff before has kind of helped you as a companion?
Yes, that I do, because so if I'm to have that girlfriend experience, I feel that I've already had that kind of massage background in a way. So, when gentlemen come and see me, I feel that they want to be catered to, right? It's a girlfriend experience. They want a nice massage, they want a sensual thing. They just don't want to some of them want to get down and dirty and then call it a day, right? But they do want to have that experience. They want to go to a nice dinner and they want to, have a nice bottle of wine and those kind of things. And I think like making them feel relaxed and making them feel wanted is important. And so incorporating that, the hot oil or the hot stones or things like that, and a nice body massage, is they like that, right?
Yeah.
And adding that to that, so I feel that that has helped me improve, I guess.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Hell yeah.
I mean, who wouldn't want that, right? I mean,
People, listen to the podcast. Who would not fucking want that? You hear that? Yeah.
I mean, I want that. You want to give me a massage too? I'll be happy
I
to. I mean, it's
yeah.
even nice too, Tank, when they'd be like, "Well, I want Sarah. Don't you want a massage?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do. Yeah, please
Yeah.
do that. That would be really nice. Like, could you massage my ass too?"
Yeah.
I, I, I did work out really hard today. I really need a butt rub. Okay, I would be happy to rub your nice ass. Okay,
And
thank
you're
you.
like, "Oh, the time's up. Where did the time go?"
Yeah, no. Oh, well, we only had an hour and it's over. No, I would never. I'm not like that. I'm a time watcher. I'm a clock watcher. Yeah, I can do that.
Do you have an average clientele that comes to see you?
No, I don't. They're all across the board, honestly. I mean, I can have, like, recently I've got a lot of like mid-30 gentlemen reaching out to me,
Nice.
and they seem to be repeat clients as well, which is nice. I mean, they at first you're like, oh wow, they're like 32. I mean, do I want to see somebody that young? Are they mature enough? I don't know, but I don't find that as a problem. They're actually really nice and polite and respectful, and obviously hot, most of them. So I'm not not saying no.
Hell
Uh,
yeah. Shout out to the 32-year-olds listening to the podcast right now. I am also 32. What up?
oh, you are? You
Yeah.
funny with us. I guess you want your butt massage, don't you think?
Yeah.
Among other things.
Yeah.
But then it goes to older clients as well. I mean, I had a client that he was in his 70s that I saw him for several years. He was amazing, and we established a great relationship. And I saw him for several years, and unfortunately, just this past summer, he passed away, and it was very sad to hear that, because he had called me like literally 2 weeks before, and he's been really ill with cancer, and had told me that he wasn't doing well, and he's like, I don't think I have much time to live, and I felt really bad. And then after that, I didn't hear from him, and knowing why he passed away. But
Oh.
yeah, I think he was one of my oldest clients.
Oh
uh,
damn.
but yeah, I know, it was sad.
Yeah.
But they do range, from old to young, and I'm happy to see, um, at any age, as long as they're respectful. I guess yeah.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. So I saw on your website, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cuddling. I feel like
Yeah,
another thing, cuddling underrated. People listen to the podcast. Cuddling is underrated. How much do the people love cuddling?
they love it. I mean, I can also word that differently, like pillow talk, right? And I thought about changing that. I'm like, the what are your thoughts on that? Would it be better, you think, to put cuddling or pillow talk?
I like cuddling better because it's like what is
You do?
like like you're like what is pillow talk exactly? Like is it talking? Is it gay looking? We're making a lot of eye contact. It's like I know for a fact that I'm about to be Little Spoon and I'm excited about it. Uh, that's so I like the cuddling. I saw it on the website and I was like, oh fuck yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I thought that because that seems to go along with everything. I want to, like I said, I like to have that connection, and I don't want just you to be a number. I want to be able to hang out, with my clients, and so they want to tell them about themselves, or just kind of hang out. Or I have crazy curly hair, so they're like, can I just touch your hair, and can I just smell you, and your hair, your skin is so soft, and things like that. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Like, it's like petting slash cuddling and pillow talk
Yeah.
all together in one. Yeah. So
Yeah, because I feel like a lot, like we've mentioned a few, like a lot of times, like connection, like I feel like, intimacy. I feel like a lot of people, there's more than sex that people like want when they're seeing somebody, and I feel like that just literally just fucking touching somebody. And I do feel like that, cuddling, that pillow talk, that does add that extra, like we're just two people right here having this, doing this thing. and it's great. I love it. It's
Yeah, I
cuddling.
agree. I mean, because people are missing that. And I think one of the reasons that they might be coming to see me or any other women in the hobby is because they're missing that in the relationship. There's something missing, whether they're married and they don't have that because they've been with someone for such a long time, or you've going through a divorce, or you're separated or single, or whatever the case may be. They want that in that part of that relationship. They want to have that intimacy that's not just the sexual part of it. They want to have that
Yeah,
connection, like you said. Yeah, exactly.
definitely. That's one of the things I feel like just doesn't get kind of really talked about in sex work. It's like, oh, it's a sex thing. Not
Mm,
no. I mean it is. I mean everyone's different. Some people like, yeah,
of
I
course.
just want to have sex, you know. There's
Hmm.
wide ranges of the reasons people, seek out sex workers. But the whole connection, intimacy, I will say, fucking it is a that is a I feel like a huge part just talking to people. That is a big thing that people are looking for. Especially too in this time when it's like, last year when you got like crazy quarantine, people aren't seeing each other, and you just like having that connection, that touch, that like I'm seeing another person in front of me. That's a huge thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has like since you started, like you mentioned, the industry's changed a lot. How has I guess like advertising or like finding clients like now versus then? How is that changed? I guess
It's more expensive. Oh.
inflation is a real thing, people. Hey.
God damn it. No. uh, you're funny. um, yeah, it's well, like I said, like Backpage back in the day was just not free cheap. It was like $10 today for your advertisement. It was so
Yeah.
easy and simple, and you don't have to be verified and whatever. It was pretty easy. But now you have so many different ways to advertise. Number one, whether or not you want to pay for it, and like say Eros, Eros is very very picky on your
The photos.
photos, and oh my god, it's ridiculous. Like I just recently went on Eros, and I haven't even repaid for next month yet because it's like so expensive. I'm like, do I repost on Eros? I don't know. But like the photos are like I put a photo with my ass, and they're like, well, we have to see your face. I'm like, well, it was an ass shot, not a butt or face shot. So like, how do I go back into the photographer and be like, hey, do you have a picture of my butt or my face in that outfit? Because they won't allow it unless my face is in the picture. So
God.
they're very very particular on things. But I prefer the ones that are a little less. I mean, Trista is a great way to advertise. I think that, and they're really cool because the fact that they allow you to advertise in other cities for free. So say like the hypothetical, I'm in Columbus, Ohio right now, and I'm leaving tomorrow, but I was able to post on there ahead of time to say, hey, I'm going to be visiting your city, and if you'd like to pre-book some time with me, then you can do so. That's
Oh
what I
yeah.
like about it. Private Delights is the same way too. They're actually free, which is really freaking cool as of right now. I mean, I'm sure that might change in the future, but I'm hoping that it won't. And then we can also advertise in other cities too for free.
Okay.
But which I like. But before, at the very beginning, I said I think there was a like back page that you can really advertise, and now the list goes on. I mean, there's the erotic review, which is could be positive and negative. You can get reviews on there, and sometimes somebody might not have liked you for because you weren't cuddling. I guess no.
I know,
Uh,
no cuddling. Fucking, she's definitely getting a six.
God damn it. She cuddled me for 5 minutes and this other guy got 10. He's a yeah.
Model material, but no cuddling.
Yeah.
Six.
Yeah. That's so that could be hit or miss, right? So
Okay. I know you mentioned like screening. Okay. How
oh
is like people were not at the beginning? No screening. Now everyone's screening,
no.
right? Or how was there can you like pinpoint a point in time when everyone like when people are like, hey, we should screen, or like how is that, I guess, how has that changed? I know like screening a lot of times also varies by location, but How is that? How was that change, I guess?
Well, I think number one, due to the fact that there's a lot of crazy people out there more, especially because of COVID. People went cuckoo, being in the house and
Yep.
not be able to get out there and meet new people, like you said. You don't see people face to face anymore, and I think that was a big thing. Just recently, over the past like year and a half or so, but also the just our safety. There law enforcement, all those things. Like we want to make sure is that was the wife messaging me. I want to know. So I think like screening is important. And I just started screening what maybe the past 4 or 5 years. I never even thought about it honestly. I'm like, okay, I trust this person, and it's a trust factor too. Um, I know some girls who still don't screen, but I feel for myself, I've heard some horrible stories of girls passing away and getting killed by people, and I think that it's for our safety and to work together that, and in this industry as well is important. So like references, um, I was talking to a client just the other day, and he was saying, "Well, yeah, I wanted to get a reference from a girl," and she said, "Well, I want $150," and it's like, you shouldn't. I'm
Gotcha, boy.
right,
And
like
that
I'll give you a
150 is a
reference.
deposit. The 150 is a deposit toward the next session.
Yeah, but I mean I think that's kind of rude. And the guy's like, "Well, if I can I use you as a reference?" I'm like, "Of course you can." And he's like, "Well, this other girl wanted $150." I'm like, "That's horrible. Like, I would never ask that unless someone asked me for reference and it was like four and five and six times, right? Like, okay. I mean,
Okay.
not that I'm mad that he's seeing somebody else because I really don't care. I'm not one of those, right? Share the love. I look at it that way. If he wants a reference, but it's 5 or 6 times, then okay, just throw me like a $50 Visa gift card or something, right? Like give
Yeah.
me a bone for responding to these girls and saying, yeah, he's wonderful or he's not. And I
Yeah.
know I don't care that like I have clients when I visit me from out of town and they live in a different state and they're like, hey Sarah, would you mind doing it? I don't mind at all. As long as they're obviously safe and they're nice guys. I won't definitely will give a reference for somebody who shouldn't be seen again, right? Like, hey, this
Yeah.
guy smelled and he was gross and he smelled of cigarettes and he was very, pushy and dominant. And then of course I would let everybody know. And I think that us girls in the industry, we need to work together in regards to that. So if I ask for a reference for somebody, I would hope that the girl would get back with me at a decent amount of time, not a week later, because typically it's within a 24 to 48-hour time basis. And I'm seeing this client, I would like to say, yeah, Sarah, I saw him. He's so nice. And, here's a tip just so you know, when you go to his house, park in underneath the left tree because, or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's really like, or he's really a gentleman and he likes to have his back rubbed, or he's going to bring you a nice bottle of red wine, or likes you wearing black, or things like that. That's always helpful hints to give
Oh
to
yeah.
give somebody. Yeah.
So 2018, we got Sesta Fosta happens. Backpage goes down. The erotic review goes down. A lot of websites go down related to sex work. Were you affected at all during that time by, Craigslist as well? Like, were you affected by these websites going offline?
Not really. I mean, a little bit, yeah. I think P41 had gone down, didn't it? Or no, I think you
I'm
said
not
with
sure.
15.
I know
I
2018 is when when Backpage went down.
I was affected from there. Yes, I was, but I hadn't really advertised on too many sites. I think I had gotten on P411, so I had that. I think a lot of guys decided, hey, you know what, Backpage is down. I'm gonna find another means of where I can find girls, and that was kind of
Okay.
where P411 came into place. And I know Gina sold it a couple of years ago, and it's been slightly different. A lot of girls don't like it, but I don't have, as of right now, knock on wood, I don't have any complaints at the moment.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I know being in the industry for a while has, how you view the industry, how you view sex work, is that like evolved like over time? Is it how you view the job when you started in Phoenix, how you view the job now? How has that changed over that time period?
But there's a lot more girls out there, that's for sure. Not that I don't mind the competition, but I like I mentioned before, I love what I do. I love being in this industry, and it's hard to say because I also sometimes work a full time job, and And I'm like, would I want to leave that full time job to just do that? Just do that. I'm sorry, to leave this to just to do that full time because you're being in the industry. You're your own boss, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have to clock in and out. You don't have to, if I don't want to go to work today, I don't have to, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and that's the positive about it. I'm making money on my own and it's on my own accord. I don't have to worry about, who's getting laid off today or tomorrow. Am I going to get a phone call on Friday that I lost my job? I mean, and I mean, there's always changes in the industry, of course. But I think that that's in regards to where it's being evolved is every day is different. And I don't think I would change it. I'm really glad that I got into the industry at the very beginning and I'm very happy now. It's going to be very tough for me to retire. I always say, oh, I'm going to retire. And then I'm like, no, maybe I'm not. Yeah. I have friends like I was going to quit last year. Um, and because I was working a full time job making great money, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna quit. And then I told my best friend, and she's like, you're not quitting, are you? I'm like, no shit, I'm not.
You're like,
No,
we
I'm
got to go to
not.
Tulum. We got to go to Tulum.
I,
We got to go to Phoenix. We got to go all
yeah,
over.
I know that's where my bestie lives. I'm like, okay, bestie, that means that we're not going to be going here. Okay, then you just stay in that. I'm like,
Yeah. What do you feel like maybe some misconceptions are that, the general public might have about sex work or sex workers?
I feel there are a lot of misconceptions. I think people think companions or girls in the industry and just in general are like we're this evil people, they're going to take their husbands away, right? And that we're prostitutes and that we're mean and awful people. I mean, I know you know this, Tank, but I had an experience recently this summer where somebody wasn't very nice and sent nasty letters to my neighbors of what I did, and it was a little embarrassing, but yet it was um, I think I was more hurt than anything of what this
Yeah.
person did. I don't know who that person is yet, still really technically, but if you're listening, you're a dick. No, I mean,
I was going
but
to say, if
I
you're listening, subscribe to the podcast. And
yeah.
you're also a dick.
Yeah, exactly. Or it could be a girl, I don't know. But in regards to like the persona of being in the industry is um one of my neighbors, she had gotten the letter in the mail and she sent me a text message and she's like, oh my god, is this true? And of course I'm not agreeing with her, but she's like, you've always been so nice to me. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, as a companion, am I mean? Am I supposed to be mean with like, am I gonna come kill you or rob you or something? Or am I a drug addict? And I was like thinking to myself, wow, the persona of people that have like, she's a prostitute, like I don't I think that we kind of in a way have a bad rap. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I mean, for sure. I mean, if you have no opinion, I think about sex workers just from watching movies, watching the news, I feel like you're most likely going to have a negative view of it just by how it's portrayed in the media. If you don't, it's completely wrong. I feel like it's like I've met some of the coolest people, the nicest people doing this podcast, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck? That's the reason why I started it, because I was like, I started seeing people as a client, and then I was like, and then when people would talk about it, the way they would talk about it was like it was such this negative thing, and I was like, what? That was not my experience at all. So let me fucking do this, because I'm like, y'all are tripping. Y'all don't even know what you're talking about. You've never even seen anybody. How do you have this view? And it's just based on not even firsthand knowledge, but just like how things are portrayed in the media, how people around you talk about something. That's all heaped on you, and you don't really realize it until you have that experience or you meet somebody and you're like, oh, what the fuck was I thinking? I was completely wrong. But that just takes meeting people, having experiences with people that you don't know. And
Yeah, we're insecure people or jealous, and I think it's a big thing as well. I mean, I've met people in this industry that you wouldn't have, I would have never thought until they kind of come out. They're like, oh yeah, I did this. I'm like, what? You would never think that. I have a
Yeah.
friend, and she's a doctor, and I was like, oh my god, you did what? I just paid my way through medical school. I'm like, holy shit, like you're hot. No wonder I'm just. She's just like, here she is a doctor, right? And then like in my situation, I got into it because I have a daughter and she has a medical condition, and I couldn't afford to pay for her hospital stuff and her medication. And so I'm a single mom, and I didn't have I what was I going to do, right? Bartending and staying away from her all the time at night. I didn't have really a choice. And so when I saw this ad, that's why I got into the hobby, is because I'm a single mother and had a daughter who needed help, and she had to have her medication or she would die. And that was like, okay, it's so expensive. What would I do? So like for me, that was my situation of why I went into the hobby, and everybody has their own. Like my friend, she needs to pay for medical school, right? Okay, or
Yeah.
someone else wants to pay if they have, whatever it might be, their car broke down and they, want to get a new car, whatever the situation they might have, whatever their story is, there's a reason for it. And some girls, it could be positive and some could be negative. And I look at it for me that it's really changed my life over these years, and I'm glad that it happened. The universe kind of brought that to me, but like, hey Sarah, you know what, this is coming to you because you have a need for your child, and this is how it's going to help you move forward, right? And then I'm able to throw in the towel if I want to, but because I love it so much, I don't want to leave. Because I
That's
meet so many
amazing.
great people like you, Tank, right? See.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's such a great story.
Thank you.
How long do you see yourself in sex work? Is there an expiration date? Is there a date I'm done? Or are you like, fucking let's rock this forever?
I know, I don't know. It's it's the that's such a great. I don't know. I like I said, I've tried to retire, and then it just comes back to me like, no, don't leave. And I just, so who knows? Like I saw a client several months ago, and it was a BDSM client, and he's like, the one thing about you being in this industry, and then also having BDSM in your back pocket, and I guess in a way in your menu, is because you can still age and be a mistress.
Yeah.
Which in his way, I was like, wow, I guess he's probably right. So I can be, I don't know, whatever age, if I decide, I can still be, 60 years old, say hypothetically, and still beat the shit out of somebody. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. So
For sure.
because guys don't come to mistresses because they're, I mean, obviously some of them do because you're hot, but I don't have to be, like a 25-year-old with high titties and soft skin and all those things, because it's different. We dominate you, and it's, it's the central part of it isn't there anymore. So I can still continue in this industry doing that for another who knows how long, right? Depending on if
Fuck
that's what I
yeah.
want to do. Yeah,
Yeah. It's all about what you want to do. Hell yeah.
it is.
So let's take a little trip to the future. 5 years from now, 2026. Where are you? What are you doing?
Hmm. I'm listening to
Still in
this
Charleston?
podcast, wondering. um, I don't know. I'll be in Tulum. That's where I'm going to be. I don't know.
Tulum. Tulum
Yeah.
2026.
Yeah. I actually, honestly, I probably will be, but down there. Yeah, it's
Hell
awesome.
yeah.
I'll come see me there. Yeah.
Definitely.
Mhm.
Tapas
That's where I'll be.
beaches,
Hell
EDM.
yeah. Yeah.
Sounds like a good place.
It's a beautiful place. So I think that's where I'll probably be. If not, I'll be somewhere similar.
Fuck yeah. Hell
Mhm.
yeah. It's a plan. Man, Sarah, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. This was such a good time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Before we get out of here, you want to plug some socials for the people. Where can they find you? Also, got to plug the OnlyFans because it's big. It's amazing. People, subscribe to the OnlyFans. Where can the people find you on OnlyFans?
Well, it's interesting because I just started my OnlyFans in May. I had a client be like, "Hey, you know what? You should do OnlyFans." I'm like, "What the heck is that?" Right? I had no idea. Like, well, you post things on Twitter because you definitely can find me on Twitter. Um, and which I love Twitter as well. I really didn't mention that as well. But OnlyFans they can find me at Fit Blonde Next Door is where I'm at on OnlyFans. I've got some uncensored content on there for sure, so you definitely need to visit that. The censored content is all on my Twitter page, so you can find me there.
Okay. What
Yeah.
is there anything like somebody subscribes to your OnlyFans? Well, as soon as they listen to this podcast, they're like, "Oh my god, I got to subscribe." What is there a favorite thing, or is like a best thing that be like a selling point for the OnlyFans, where people hear this and they're like, "I got to go see what's up."
I guess Hot Sarah with like video. I do videos on there that I have somebody that I work with. We'll say he's my little stud guy that I work with on OnlyFans. So I'll post hot, sexy videos, shower scenes, or 69 or BJ videos, things like that, like hot stuff of me nude and fucking videos are always
Sold.
nice, right? Who doesn't want that,
Sold,
right?
people.
Yeah. You get to see
OnlyFans.com
Sarah in
slash fit,
action. Yeah.
fit blonde next door, people. What are you doing? Subscribe to the OnlyFans.
Or follow me on Twitter if you don't want. I know a lot of people that OnlyFans for them is not really their scene, but at Sexy Sarah CHS is where you can find me on Twitter.
Sexy Sarah CHS on Twitter, Fit Blonde Next Door, OnlyFans, anywhere else? Are we leaving anywhere else, or those are the spots?
Yeah, yeah. I have a website, but which has my calendar on it. But you could always come see me. I do have a place in Charleston. You could come see me there. So I have a cute little new place, and it's very private and wonderful. And you can come see me there.
People, you heard it here first. Sarah, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. It's been so good.
You're very welcome. I appreciate you inviting me, and happy holidays to you.
Happy holidays. Hell yeah. And happy holidays to the people. We'll be back later.
Yeah, see you guys soon.
I hope you enjoyed my conversation today with Sarah Dow. Shout out, Sarah. I appreciate you coming on the podcast. So much fun. That was such a good time. People, she just plugged it. You can find her on Twitter at SexySarahCHS. On OnlyFans, onlyfans.com/fitblondenextdoor. Her website, sweetsarahdow.com. I have links to all of those in the show notes, people. Click the links, do the thing, show her some love. As always, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter at Full Service Pod. I am at Tank Funkadelic. If you enjoy the show, if you like what you're hearing, hit that subscribe button. You'll be alerted as soon as those new episodes drop. If you want to support the show, hey, we're on Patreon, patreon.com/fullservicepod. Every month we get at least one Patreon exclusive episode. Check it out. It's a lot of fun. Patreon.com/fullservicepod. This has been episode 108. Thanks for being here. We will be back actually next week. We actually got I think I'm going to do 3 episodes before the end of the year. So y'all gotta tune in. But we'll be back next week. Got some big news for the podcast, so you will want to hear it. But that's all for today. I have a link in the show notes. I've had it the last couple weeks. One of my friends, Rachel, she has cancer. There's a GoFundMe. Hey, if you got the money, do the things, baby. If you don't, I get it. But hey, it's there. I will see y'all next week. Hope you're good. Hope you're wonderful. Hope Santa's coming. He's got what you want. That PS5, you're probably not going to get it, but hey, put it on the list. I'll see y'all on Tuesday. Later. Full service.